Hello and welcome for joining me for this week's episode. Now, I'm doing things slightly different this week as I've not one, not two, but three guests in our conversation. And the first guest I'm going to introduce you to is Lawrence Cramer from Inspired Villages, who was involved recently in setting up an initiative called Pensioner Personal Trainers with none other than the UK's most famous ski jumper, Eddie the Eagle. Now, you may recall that I spoke with the CEO of Inspired Villages, Jamie Bunce, in episode 149 about Inspired Villages' later living communities. They have a particular focus on helping residents maintain their well-being and independence so this initiative fits in so well with what they do. I'm also going to welcome Julie and Lynne, two of the older personal trainers involved in making exercise more accessible for us as we get older. So without further ado, let's get on with our conversation with Lawrence, Julie and Lynne. So welcome everybody.
Hello.
Hi.
Great to have a just chance of the conversation with you. So Lawrence, tell me about this initiative. Where does this all come from?
Well, it came from some research, actually, that we conducted that talked about aging well and staying fit and healthy as you age. And what becomes clear for us as well in our villages is that people moving into retirement villages, particularly ours, where it's independent living, age appropriate for the people that want to engage with and enjoy as much activity as they want, is that we thought, well, let's just extend this a bit further now. And hence you mentioned Eddie the Eagle. Eddie the Eagle's been with us twice now, actually. Wow. He came last summer during the Olympics, and he came again, and we had a great day with him. In fact, we did a 45-minute session. It was really hard work. So he's really still very fit and active, which is great. But we wanted to make sure that the message about aging, it doesn't mean to say you have to sit in an armchair. You can do as much or as little as you want. You can stretch or just go for a walk or do some more physical activity. And hence working with Lynne and Julie as well, just demonstrated that this is the art of the possible. And we had some wonderful people there during the day. Some people sitting in chairs, by the way, and just doing some stretching exercises and gentle exercises. So it's for everyone according to their needs. And that's what we want to do as we continue to grow as an organisation. We're currently 8 villages. We have wonderful facilities with gyms and saunas and swimming pools. But when we get to 34 villages, we want to continue to make sure that over 10,000 people will enjoy the benefit of staying fit and healthy and well.
Amazing. It's an amazing initiative. So now I've got to do this delicately, but Julie and Lynne, you are both experts in personal training and fitness and diet and all the rest of it. Now, Julie and Lynne, well, I'll go to you first, Julie, if I may.
Okay.
You're of a certain age, and I'm not going to say anything more than that, but can you just introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Julie, yes, and I'm 69.
69. Now, Julie, what's the real benefit of having a more mature personal trainer in this environment?
Well, you're aging as well as the residents of the retirement villages, and you know your limitations. We all have limitations, and we have to just keep within those, otherwise you get injury. So it's a great benefit. When I was 30, I could do, a lot more intense training. As you get to nearer 70, then, but it's very individual on your own body. But you must do within your limitations. Yeah.
And so if I come to you, Lynne, may I ask again, you're more mature than the personal trainers that I've worked with in the past. So tell me a little bit about yourself.
Yes, well, I'm 75.
Wow.
And a bit like Julie, as we age, we can't do the same sort of intensity as we once were used to. Having said that, I am still teaching a couple of classes to a wide variety of ages, where I have some teenagers come into the class, all the way through to my eldest one that's been in my class for 30 odd years. She won't leave, but she's 92. And it's amazing, actually, because they actually cover all these generations. It's absolutely fantastic. And I think actually when the young ones, and I'm saying young people, but anybody under 50, I think when they see the older ones still working out, that gives them a little bit of incentive and a little bit of encouragement. And I think it's great if we can mix the different ages. It works in my place anyhow. And I think it's great that we can continue doing something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fantastic. I mean, I can imagine it's very inspiring. So, Julie, in your kind of classes, etc., when you're working with Inspired Villages, are there people that you're encouraging who've maybe not been to a gym at all before?
Yes. Yeah, a lot of them, I would say about 80% haven't been to a gym, and they're of that age where it wasn't the Jane Fonda era or anything like that.
No.
I invented I think it's amazing, a walk-in resistance band. So you can walk with resistance or you can move with resistance, which is a double, it's excellent. It's cardio as well as building strength.
Wow.
You can do as much or as little as you want because you're in control of the load, because it's attached to your foot. It's a pair of rubber tubing with a handle and a foot pad, and you can do a workout. To me, the crucial word is movement. You can keep moving till you cannot move anymore. That is the key factor. And it can be walking, it can be cycling, it can be dancing, but keep moving. We don't have to all do triathlons or climb mountains or whatever. I'm very lucky. I went to a PE college. I'm a teacher of 46 years of PE, and it was called Chelsea School of Human Movement. It's now called the University of Brighton, still training PE teachers. But to me, that was so important. We were taught how to move through a wide range of exercise. So that's what I'm plugging, movement.
Fantastic. And turning back to you, Lawrence, I can imagine that one of the things that I remember when I was chatting to Jamie was the feeling of for your if I don't know if it's the right word, residents maybe of the Inspired Villages. But of course, one of the things that we very much focus on is that people become part of a community. And therefore, I can imagine this, being involved in the gyms is a massive expansion of that community feeling to actually not only see each other around the village and maybe eat together, etc., and do all the other amazing things that I know go on in Inspired Villages, but actually doing exercise together, I can imagine is a real bonding opportunity.
It is. That's absolutely right. And the whole social side of it is so important, as you just mentioned, really. And so apart from the exercise and the movement, which Julie mentioned, is so important, we do art therapy classes. So people who don't want to, so again, it's just about their mental well-being as well as their physical well-being. So we, during the course of the week, across our 8 villages at the moment, we run 200 types of activities or classes of all types of arrangements that are there for everyone to take part in. And that includes swimming pool, just doing the workouts there where it's less resistance. Interestingly, I bought the resistance bands, so I can vouch for them. They are actually very, very good, and do give you the ability to be in control of, as you say, be in control of your movements to the level that you're fit enough. We have, and the day that we were at Ledian with Eddie the Eagle, we had a 92-year-old lady who'd never been in a gym in her life. And she was like, wow, this is amazing. And we have a 102-year-old man who's our oldest resident in Gifford Lee in Chester, who goes to the gym in his suit. And he just does simple work. He's just lifting weights or, And so we measure his strength condition for him. And that's what he wants to achieve. Just keep his bones and muscles stronger. So again, it's for every age, for every limitation that people have. And for us, the intergenerational piece is really important as well. I think getting the mix, as Lynne has mentioned as well, getting that mix between age as well is really, really important. But just to say, we're also going to take this philosophy of well-being into the communities outside of our villages. because we believe, as you know, we know that there's 2 million people out in villages in the UK that suffer from loneliness and isolation, that very rarely get to talk to people within a week or a month. So we want to, in 2023, watch this space. We're going to be taking the philosophy of well-being in all its levels to the communities as well, and for communities to come and enjoy the facilities of our villages. So, so we're just going to keep pushing that envelope, as Jamie would tell you, Justin, that we're just going to keep pushing that envelope of well-being. Yeah.
Fantastic. Now, Lynne, if I can just turn to you for a second. I know that you're, I think from my notes, that you specialise in this postural stability. Tell me more about that.
I do. Well, postural stability class in our area is called Strength and Balance. And it's designed from GP referrals. We get GP referrals. That could be someone that's got Parkinson's or a stroke, perhaps even just had a hip replacement or knee surgery. And they can be sent by the GP or by the physio. They can also self-refer. But self-referral, because of the lockdown, self-referrals have been few and far between, because no one has been going into the GP surgeries to see the posters and such like, to advertise these classes. So really, recently, it's been designed from the GP referrals or from physios. And they come along and hopefully giving them the independent living, actually, trying to sort of get them back on their feet, to stay active as much as possible and as long as possible. And it's something you mentioned, Lawrence, about age. It's interesting. My mother-in-law was 102 when she died. I have a friend who at the moment has a mother of 104. We are an aging population. Yeah. We have to think, what is the cost to the NHS and to all these sorts of places out there? What is the cost? We have to think about perhaps, addressing that and helping people remain independent, but to remain independent healthily. So, that's a problem. And back on the teaching bit, I'm an ex-school teacher myself, and maybe there's something to do with teachers. I don't know, Julie, but anyhow, I'm glad that I'm still working.
You do, yeah,
enjoying it.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah. And just come back to you again, Lawrence. Where did the idea of Eddie the Eagle come from? Because I think it's a genius idea. What's he like, and is he still as is he still as we all remember him?
He is actually. He's a really lovely man, and we all sat and had a bite to eat with him afterwards. But he's still the same. He's in pantomime this year in Red Hill, so there you go. There's a plug for Eddie there. But he's still, the man we saw, and if you've seen the film, the man we saw at the Olympics then, very enthusiastic, full of energy, full of vibrancy. He won't mind me telling you, because I asked him, he's 57, 58 now, but he really throws himself into each activity. So the idea came, because it was the Olympics, even though it was the Summer Olympics, we thought, well, who better than to get into one of our villages in Ulster, Eddie the Eagle. And again, he just threw himself into each activity for the whole day. And what was great was that he wasn't the kind of celebrity that turned up and didn't want to engage. He stayed the whole day and thoroughly enjoyed himself. And because back to the point that Julie was making and Lynne has made, is that because of his age, people connected with him as well. They could see themselves in him staying fit and healthy. Genius idea. He's one of our ambassadors now. He loves the concept as well of staying fit and well, independent living, and long may he continue being one of our ambassadors.
Brilliant. Now, Julie, I can imagine there are a number of people listening or watching to our video and the podcast today, which they may think, exercise, I go for a brisk walk, or I try and get out and about each day. Isn't that enough? What do you say to them?
I think walking is amazing, but if you can add resistance to it, because it's been proved, distance training builds strength. And that's one thing. And with Lynne, posture and stability and balance, if you've got strength, that is it's crucial to, being able to stand and or walk. It's combining movement with all these other things, these aspects that help, and people, if they can get out of the body, mind and soul, like Lauren said about art, music, it's all about social community. And like Lynne said about mixing the ages, I'm a great believer. I live in Eastbourne and it's full of elderly people, and youth keeps you young. So if you can include, like Lawrence has invited non-residents in to, that is such a boost for the elderly. And if they can just move, but add strength to it, that is the golden ticket of exercise in my mind. And research has shown that.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's been a number of experts on the podcast who've absolutely backed that up. And of course, you're absolutely right. As we age, we do lose strength. Doesn't matter how much kind of walking and running we do, we're losing strength, aren't we? Because that's just the natural aging process, and maintaining strength is significant in preventing falls and trips and that type of thing. Lawrence, I think you mentioned a couple of things, maybe your expansion of how many Inspire villages there are going to be in the near future. And then, of course, this something really interested me here is this opening up into the communities around you to make the facilities available. I mean, that sounds an amazing initiative. First of all, just tell me a bit about the expansion, and then maybe as a wrap up, where can people find out about Inspired Villages, see if there's one local to them, and how could they actually get involved with this great initiative?
Sure, yeah. So we started off at 2 villages in 2017 with 35 people. We're now at 8 villages and 300 people running the business. We recruit all our own people into the villages, so we don't outsource anything. And we recruit our wellbeing navigators. Over the next 5 years, we will expand to 34 villages across the UK. And when we say that, Justin, we mean by they'll either be fully open or in build phase and partially open operationally, like Ledian Gardens in Leeds at the moment. We build in phases. So phase 1 will accommodate 50, 60 people, then phase 2 and phase 3. Fully occupied. We've got 3 villages fully sold out. And they've got 150 to 200 people in the villages themselves. So huge logistics of looking after those people. But each of them, as we've said many times, live independently. And when we get to the 34 villages, we're not going to stop there. If you've met Jamie, as you've said, he'll then be pushing for 50 villages and 60 and 100 and whatever else we can do, because and Lynne and Julie have mentioned it, people are aging. There are 12 million people over the age of 65 in the UK at the moment, and over the next 5-10 years, that age is going to increase. People are going to live longer, so we need to find an avenue for them to stay fit and well and healthy. And if it's not going to be in our villages, as you've mentioned, then we want to make sure that if people are living in the communities and villages near where we are, we want to make sure that they can live independently, stay fit and healthy and strong. And we have 4 pillars of well-being, which is the physical, social, nutritional and financial. Particularly in these times, people are watching the pennies with the cost of living crisis and their pensions. So we offer that service as well. So just take away some of that stress and anxiety that can creep into people's lives. So as I said earlier, if you watch this space from next year, and Jamie and I are chatting about this now actually, we are going to take out from Ledian Gardens and from Elderswell in Bedfordshire. We're going to be going into the communities. We're working with local authorities, local councils, local charity organisations. So we're not going to do this alone. We're going to do this in collaboration with many other partners in the communities who are already doing amazing work, but we can support them. We can all work together on this particular agenda of aging well, staying fit and healthy. And we're going to do something quite unique, which I'd love to mention on this program, but it's kind of in its. But if it happens, it will be a game changer for the way that way Inspired is seen within the aging community, and the way Inspired is seen within the generally, and particularly influencing government policy, back to the point I think Lynne and Julie have made around the cost of people living longer. If we can help them live fitter and healthier and mentally stay strong as well, then that takes away that pressure and stress off the NHS and the general practices. We can put more money into the front end rather than preventative at the back end. So lots of things that we're doing, as you know, we're going to continue to push that envelope. We're going to continue to work with communities and local leaders, and particularly with Julie and Lynne as well, who were great to be with on the day. So, and for us, if they want to find out more about us, then go to our website at www.inspiredvillages.co.uk and you'll see everything there.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I mean, it's really been a fascinating conversation. I look forward to the big news when you can announce that, Lawrence. I think you're doing. I think it is a great initiative, and I think fitness, health, and everything you're doing. It's not just about just accommodating people. You really are looking at their all-round holistic well-being, as you mentioned. So, all power to you all, and thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you, Lynne. Thank you, Julie, and thank you, Lawrence.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lawrence.
Thank you.
Thanks again to Lawrence, Julie, and Lynne for joining me today. To find the show notes with links to what we've discussed today, head over to our website at theretirementcafe.co.uk. As ever, if you've enjoyed this episode, please do leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, as it really helps more people like you find us. And for more interviews and retirement planning videos, you may want to check out my YouTube channel, search for @Justin_King, or click the link in the show notes. If you've got an idea for a guest or a topic you'd like to hear about on the Retirement Cafe podcast, please get in touch on hello@theretirementcafe.co.uk, or you can get to me via Twitter @JustinKingCFP. I hope to hear from you. So until next time, I'm Justin King, helping you feel more informed in your retirement.